From the Hindu Kush to the Rockies, a journey from Kabul to Colorado in community-led transformation, a memoir of resilience, advocacy, and transformation by Humayun Milad. Episode 33. In our dialogues, we introduced peace terminologies not as academic concepts, but as tools for understanding lived experiences. We explored how political peace, often measured by the absence of direct violence, was insufficient without addressing the cultural violence that eroded traditional values and the structural violence that perpetuated inequities. These discussions resonated deeply with communities who had long understood that peace meant more than silencing guns. The Islamic perspective on peace provided a crucial framework that legitimized our efforts within Afghanistan's cultural context. We drew upon Islamic principles of justice, reconciliation, and community harmony, finding that these resonated deeply with local understanding while providing a bridge to modern peace-building concepts. Our approach to social peace-building emerged organically from these foundations. We focused on how communities could rebuild trust, restore traditional conflict resolution mechanisms, and adapt them to contemporary challenges. This wasn't about imposing external solutions, but about reviving and strengthening the social fabric that war had strained but not destroyed. The way forward required both vision and pragmatism. In each dialogue, we guided participants through a process of imagining peace, not as an abstract concept, but as a series of tangible changes in their daily lives. These visions were then grounded in action planning sessions, where communities identified specific steps they could take, resources they could mobilize, and allies they could engage. This methodology wasn't just a framework. It was a living, breathing process that evolved with each community we engaged. It demonstrated that while high-level peace negotiations commanded global attention, the real work of building peace happened in thousands of small moments. In the handshake between former adversaries, in the collective decision to revive a shared irrigation system, in the quiet courage of women speaking up in community gatherings. These dialogues became the foundation of a broader movement, one that recognized that true peace couldn't be negotiated solely in distant conference rooms, but had to be nurtured in the heart of Afghan society itself. As our grassroots peace dialogues flourished across districts and villages, we recognized a critical gap: the need to bridge these local voices with national policy frameworks. The halls of Afghanistan's parliament, both the Walasi Jirga, House of Representatives, and Meshrano Jirga, the Senate, held the key to institutionalizing peace beyond temporary agreements. Drawing from the painful lessons of our history, where peace accords had crumbled without broad-based Afghan ownership, we knew that engaging parliamentary representatives wasn't just important, it was essential. The weight of history hung heavy in our planning. The 1988 Geneva Accords failure still echoed in Afghanistan's collective memory, a stark reminder of what happens when Afghans are sidelined in their own peace process. The 2001 Bonn Agreement, though it opened a new chapter, had demonstrated how exclusion, in this case of the Taliban, could plant seeds for 2 decades of renewed conflict. These historical lessons shaped our approach to parliamentary engagement. Our work with USIP had already created a foundation through provincial peace dialogues in Herat, Nangarhar, Kandahar, and Balkh. These dialogues had given birth to a network of peace builders, dedicated civil society members, youth activists, and community leaders who had developed locally rooted visions for peace. Now, we needed to connect these grassroots visions with the legislative power of parliament. The timing was crucial. As optimism around intra-Afghan talks grew, we saw an opportunity to ensure that Afghanistan's elected representatives could serve as true bridges between high-level negotiations and community aspirations. We designed a 2-day national peace dialogue that would bring together members from both houses of parliament, not as politicians, but as representatives of their communities' hopes and fears. Our approach was methodical, yet dynamic. We guided parliamentarians through a process of identifying and analyzing the complex web of issues threatening social cohesion in their constituencies. But we didn't stop at problem identification. We pushed them to envision Afghanistan's future beyond the immediate challenges, to dream bigger while remaining grounded in practical realities. The dialogue space we created wasn't just about discussion, it was about transformation. We watched as representatives from different regions, ethnic groups, and political alignments began to craft a shared vision for Afghanistan's future. They weren't just talking about ending violence, they were reimagining the very fabric of Afghan society. A crucial innovation emerged from these discussions: the Parliamentary Contact Group. This wasn't meant to be another bureaucratic body, but rather a dynamic platform for peace advocacy within the legislative process. Selected members would ensure that peace perspectives informed every parliamentary debate, every resolution, and every piece of legislation. Media coverage of these dialogues served a dual purpose. Beyond transparency, it helped create a national conversation about peace that transcended political divisions. We were careful to frame these discussions not as political negotiations, but as part of a broader social transformation, one that belonged to all Afghans. This parliamentary engagement represented a crucial link in our comprehensive approach to peace. While our village-level dialogues addressed immediate community concerns, and our provincial gatherings built regional consensus, these parliamentary sessions ensured that grassroots perspectives could influence national policy. We were creating not just vertical integration between local and national levels, but horizontal connections across Afghanistan's diverse regions and communities. The parliament members' engagement demonstrated that peace building in Afghanistan couldn't be compartmentalized. It required simultaneous work at all levels of society, from the most remote village shura to the highest institutions of state. This multi-level approach became our signature methodology, one that recognized the complexity of Afghanistan's challenges while maintaining hope in our collective capacity for transformation. We'll continue this story in the next episode, so stay tuned.